Hi, my name is Yadira McKelkey. This video will show viewers how to read and understand an IEP at a glance. First, what is an IEP at a glance? Well, an IEP at a glance is an individualized education plan summarized in a page or two. Every IEP is tailored specifically for that student. Sometimes the entire IEP can be very lengthy. Therefore, an IEP at a glance comes in handy when looking for information such as qualifying disability and accommodations. As with any other IEP information, this data is confidential and should only be shared with staff that work directly with the student. At the top of the IEP at a glance, you will find the student's identifying information, the student's name and ID number, the date the IEP takes effect, student's birthday, and this is important as it is possible to have more than one student with the same name. The name of the school is also located here, as well as the student's grade level at the time the IEP was written. There is a beginning and an end date, as IEPs must be updated annually. The case manager is the name of the education specialist that is responsible and oversees the IEP. This is also the person who should provide a copy of the IEP at a glance to the necessary staff. PBSP stands for Positive Behavior Support Plan. If the box is marked yes, then an additional form describing the behavior support plan can also be included. The student's qualifying disability is also noted here. Sometimes a student has more than one disability. This sample IEP at a glance is that of a student with a specific learning disability. The IEP at a glance also contains the student's annual goals. This student has a specific learning disability that affects her abilities in the areas of reading, writing, and math. These goals are developed so that the student can gain access to the general education curriculum. These are also built on the state standards. Jane has attention-seeking behavior that impedes her learning and that of other students. Therefore, a behavior goal was also created to help Jane. It is crucial that teachers and aides are familiar with the individualized goals so that as a team, all can work together to ensure the student's success. A student with disabilities may need accommodations on state and district-wide assessments. These can also be located on the IEP at a glance. Supplementary aids and services are also listed on this form. As you can see, Jane is to receive clarification of assignments, and staff should also check for understanding to support Jane. An IEP at a glance is also to be provided to all staff working with Jane to support her as well as the staff. Since she is at the middle school level, it is best practice to provide a copy to each teacher at the beginning of each semester or when any changes are made to her schedule. Jane is also to have preferential seating away from distractions. Other examples of supplementary aids and services could be extended time, testing in separate locations, requests for breaks, use of manipulatives and visuals. Again, each IEP is tailored to the needs of the individualized student. The Specialized Education and Related Services section lists the minutes of services provided by the education specialist and/or a speech pathologist, counselor, occupational therapist, if that student were to receive those services. Here, Jane receives a total of 60 minutes of specialized academic instruction in a co-taught model general education class on a daily basis. So what that means is the education specialist along with her general education teacher work together to provide services to Jane. Jane also receives pull-out specialized academic instruction 120 minutes weekly in a separate environment. During this time, Jane and the education specialist work on Jane's individualized goals, and on assignments from her core classes. The case manager is the person you should contact for a copy of the IEP at a glance if they haven't already given you one. Shoot them an email and they may be able to provide a digital copy for easy access. Any staff member that works directly with the academic component or behavioral component, if the student has a behavior goal, should have access to this data. So the general education teachers, instructional aides, office staff, if they work with the student, if the student is, say, an office TA, anybody that, again, works directly with the student should have access to the data. It is important to remind these people that do have access to the data that it is confidential and they are not to share it with anybody else other than the case manager.